Welcome to the video session 4. Before I start off with the lecture on video 4, let us try to have a small recap as to what has been done in the previous video session. In the previous video session, we were talking about as to how the subject of economics has been defined differently by different economists. In that particular category, we looked at the first and the foremost definition, the wealth definition. The wealth definition was given by Adam Smith. We regard him as the father of economics. He looks at the subject of economics from wealth perspective. That is, he regards economics as what? A study of production and distribution of wealth, isn't it? It was in 1776, his magnum opus, an inquiry into the nature and cause of wealth of nations, was published, through which he defined the subject of economics and categorically explained the subject of economics that it is a branch of knowledge dealing with the study of wealth. And he defines economics as an inquiry into the nature and cause of wealth of nations. Having looked at the subject of economics from a very narrow perspective, that is, how to make richness of an individual or that of a society, in other words, or in short, the basic objective of the study of economics was concerned with greediness or selfishness for money. It was with this intent the subject has been defined. So having defined from a narrow perspective, it became a scathing criticism in the hands of the critics. Critics condemned it as a bread and butter science. As we know that the basic objective of livelihood is what? To win our bread. How? Only through earning our income. Earning our income results in generation of wealth. So they condemned this branch of knowledge as what? A science which is concerned with bread and butter science. They also condemned it as what? A dark and dismal science, which means this branch of knowledge, since it is concerned with only with as to how to make money, they felt that this subject does not have any of its scope, thus condemned as what? A dark and dismal science. As we have already stated that the subject of economics had its birth in the year 1776, within a period of 100 years of time, that is 1876, the subject starts to die. It was at this time a great economist by name Alfred Marshall. He emerges and lifts the science of economics to the state of affairs as to what we are seeing it today. He shifts the emphasis from wealth to welfare. So the welfare definition was given by whom? Alfred Marshall. The wealth definition was given by whom? Adam Smith, isn't it? So Alfred Marshall says economics is not a study of wealth. Economics is not a study of wealth, rather it's a study of welfare. So what is wealth according to Alfred Marshall? He says wealth is what? Wealth is not an end in itself, it is only a means to an end. What does he say? Wealth is not an end in itself, only a means to an end, isn't it? Means to an end, isn't it? So this was his notion regarding the concept of wealth. He says the study of economics is not about study of wealth, rather it's a study of what? Welfare. What aspect of welfare? Materialistic aspect. So let us see as to how does he define the subject of economics. He says economics is a study of mankind in the ordinary business of life. He does not stop over there. He further explains it examines that part of the individual and social action which is most closely connected with what? Attainment of material requisites of wealth. attainment of material requisites of human well-being, isn't it? So firstly, Alfred Marshall says economics is what? A study of mankind. It is not a study concerned with what? Beasts or animals. With what aspect of behavioral aspects of mankind is it concerned? It is concerned about the ordinary business of life. That is as to how an individual earns his income, spends it, distributes his income and saves his money. He does not stop over there. He brings about an integration between the behavioral pattern of the individual and that of the society. What is the basic objective of any individual? To maximize his well-being. To maximize his well-being or welfare. Isn't it? What aspect of welfare? Materialistic welfare. Isn't it? Likewise, what is the basic objective of any society? Maximize the well-being of all the members of the society. With reference to what aspect? Material aspect. So this was what was being explained by whom? Alfred Marshall. So again, his definition is also subjected to severe criticism. To start with, Alfred Marshall condemns the wealth definition given by Adam Smith, isn't it? He says economics is not a study of wealth, rather it's a study of welfare, isn't it? Immediately the critic starts to criticize him. What do they say? They say that though he starts off by saying that economics is a study of welfare, but what aspect of welfare? Materialistic aspect, isn't it? Materialistic welfare. Thus, the concept of wealth enters his definition through the back door. It enters his definition through the back door. And they condemn his definition as what? A old wine in a new bottle, isn't it? This becomes the core issue of the subject of criticizing the definition given by whom? Alfred Marshall. This forces the other economists to look at the definition of economics from a different perspective. But for a longer period of time, isn't it? Alfred Marshall's definition continues to hold good as it encompasses all the parameters that needs to be taken into account in defining the concept of economics. Let us see, the scarcity definition given by Prof Lionel Robbins. Wealth definition was given by whom? Adam Smith. There is shift from wealth to that of welfare. Welfare definition was given by whom? Alfred Marshall. Again there is a shift from welfare to that of scarcity, and this definition was given by whom? Professor Lionel Robbins. Isn't that? Isn't it? See, there was a very severe criticism that was laid against the welfare definition that resulted in making, or what to say, a number of economists to look at the subject of economics from a different perspective. It was at that time a great economist by name, Professor Lionel Robbins. He emerges in the year 1932 through his an essay on what? Nature and significance of economic science. He initiates a new controversy regarding the definition of the subject of economics. He initiates what? A new controversy in defining the subject of economics. Until such time, it was Alfred Marshall's definition that was holding good, and it went, without any controversy that was being laid against him. And his definition was almost accepted, isn't it? Without any demur, isn't it? Let us see as to how Professor Lionel Robbins defines the subject of economics. Professor Lionel Robbins says, economics is not a study of wealth, not a study of welfare, rather it's a study of scarcity, which is the core issue of any economic problem, isn't it? So let us see as to how does he define it. He says economics is what? Is science. What does it do? It studies human behavior as a relationship between ends and scarce means which have alternative uses. Through his definition, he lays down three basic propositions. One is ends, the other is scarce means, third one is alternative uses, isn't it? These are the three basic propositions on the basis of which the entire economic problem lies. This was what was being emphasized by whom? Prof Lionel Robbins. Ends refers to what? Human wants. Human wants are unlimited by its nature. Human wants are unlimited by its nature. Satisfaction of one want results in the emergence of the other. Perhaps that stage never arises where all wants are fully satisfied except after death, isn't it? So I am repeating it. Ends refers to what? Human wants. Human wants are unlimited by its nature. So we have to make a choice between the most urgent wants and that of the less urgent wants. In fact, it's a very big topic. Choices is a very big topic, the subject of economics. We shall deal about it later on, isn't it? So there is an unlimited wants. The second proposition, what scarce means. Scarce means refers to what? The resources. The resources are very much limited by its nature. So there is a confrontation between unlimited human wants with that of the limited resources. This results in the emergence of an economic problem. This was what was highlighted by whom? Prof Lionel Robbins. Here, he makes a highlight while defining his subject of economics, scarcity. The word scarcity here, he does not use it in what sense? Absolute sense. He uses it in what sense? Relative sense. That is, when he makes use of the word scarcity, he is not talking about a short supply of goods. He is talking about short supply of goods which has a demand. This he categorizes as what? Scarcity. Okay. So, he does not stop over there. He says that an economic problem arises on account of what? Unlimited wants with that of the limited resources. But this economic problem further gets magnified on account of what aspect? Alternative uses. As you know that, there is no good on this planet Earth which has only one use, isn't it? After putting a good into one single use, the remainder does not remain in isolation. It carries some significance. Say for example, I have already discussed in a short video that, for example, electricity. What are the uses of electricity? In fact, I have heard number of answers from number of students for the past 28 years of my experience. They say, when I raise this question, what are the use of electricity? They say air conditioners, refrigerators, mixie, grinders, so on and so forth. These are all electrical gadgets or electrical appliances. But the question that was raised was what? What are the uses of electricity? The use of electricity are n in number, isn't it? It is used for heating purpose, it is used for cooling purpose, it is used for a grinding purpose, it is used for computing purpose, as of now it is used for driving purposes, so on and so forth. It has n number of uses. Likewise, for example, what are the uses of sugar cane? From sugar cane, we not only derive sugar, we also derive number of other byproducts, like for example, bagasse, which is used extensively in the paper industry, isn't it? Likewise, molasses, which has an extensive use in the industrial alcohol. So, it has n number of usages. It is on account of this alternative uses, a good carries more of its economic significance. This was what was highlighted by whom? Professor Lionel Robbins. So, Lionel Robbins says that these are the threefold criteria which must be fulfilled for any economic problem to be solved, isn't it? So, again, his definition is also subjected to severe criticism. Let us see some of the very important criticism that has been raised against his definition, isn't it? Let us see, there are almost 15 to 20 criticisms. We'll talk only about 4 to 5 or 3 to 4, isn't it? First and the foremost, criticism of what? The scarcity definition. Given by whom? Lionel Robbins, isn't it? Professor Lionel Robbins says, an economic problem arises on account of what reason? Scarcity. But the critics say that all economic problems need not arise out of what? Scarcity. It can arise even out of what? Abundance as well. For example, the Great Depression of 1930s. Here, the economic problem had arisen on account of what? Overproduction. It was not short supply of goods and services. So this was the first criticism that was leveled against this definition. Number 2 is that Professor Lionel Robbins turns his definition more into a pure science, but the subject of economics is more practical by its nature. This is the second criticism that is leveled against us. Let us not go into the too many explanations that has been given for each and every aspect. I'll just highlight them, isn't it? Thirdly, the third criticism that has been leveled against Professor Lionel Robbins' definition is that he turns the subject of economics into a positive science. A positive science. But truly speaking, the subject of economics is more normative by its nature, isn't it? Isn't it? It is more normative by its nature, isn't it? These are some of the 3 very important criticisms that has been leveled against Professor Lionel Robbins' definition. And one more very critical criticism that has been leveled against his definition is that they say that his definition is more static. His definition is more static, which means it is not dynamic by its nature. Can anyone say as to what is static? What is static? Or what is dynamic? This I'll explain it in a short video. Okay, what is static and what is dynamic? So I'm repeating it. The critics condemned his definition to be more static and not dynamic. And the fifth criticism, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, isn't? The fifth criticism is that they say that he does not take into the current issues of economics, like growth and development, which is totally absent in his definition. So these are some of the very important 5 criticism that has been leveled against his definition. Is that clear? Thank you very much.